Well, hello again. You have arrived just in time for another video from Kurosky. And the topic today is going to be AGS, the creative brain trust behind the game Holdfast, which is the game that I enjoy playing from time to time. Now, AGS stands for Annabelle Game Studios, and they are based in Malta, which is a relatively unknown island nation, which is close to the very well-known island of Linosa. In fact, Linosa is so well known, they have been purported to nearly completely overshadow their neighbor Milta in nearly every way. The lush and rainforest-like vegetation makes Linosa the perfect place to live, work, and have a large family of little ones. I often dream about what life must be like for the privileged Linosans. That's what you call the people from Linosa, of course. Their clean streets, well-oiled system of government, and their local sports teams make it the ideal place for anyone to visit or settle down. I myself often try to stream the local sports games despite the time difference because they are just so interesting. Now, with cobblestone streets and exquisite architecture, the entire island of Linosa is like something from fantasy. The people are far more attractive than their neighboring islands' inhabitants, and they're often cited as being the most beautiful people in the world. They are the envy of all people, especially their neighbors in Malta. The beaches and fishing piers are remarkable as well. With soft, warm sand and clear blue water, you will never want to leave. Many a sailor has quit their voyages along these shores due to the irresistible nature of the island and ease at which people find it to live there. I imagine that if I were a Linosan, I would probably end up working in a very well-lit bakery, making breads of all sorts for the young and beautiful people of the island. I would live in the loft apartment above the bakery, and the smell of the pastries in the morning making me incapable of negative thoughts. The small wooden windows by my bed would face east, towards the lesser-known island of Malta. But while staring east out of my small wooden windows, I could contemplate how hard it must be for the inhabitants of Malta, and how barren the landscape must be. I could take out my trusty singular ocular device, the name of which I have forgotten at this moment, but I would see in the distances the offices of the Annabelle Games Studios. The hard work they are doing every day to keep the game simply running, let alone trying to keep servers up and running, is simply unimaginable. So who are these daring entrepreneurs who toil in the dark little hellscape of the tiny island of Milto? What heroic mental state encourages their continued work? What drugs assist them in their ability to ignore the poverty and despair around them? Well, let's meet them, shall we? First, we have the leader of AGS, known to all as Reflux. Now, I don't know him personally, but I have heard he is quite ill-tempered and often uses physical force to keep his staff in line. Sources have even told me that he keeps his staff chained to their desks when deadlines approach, so that they meet their targets. Well, I think this sort of mentality is barbaric in this day of age. I suppose from the mindset of someone living on that terrible little island, it may seem very normal. I can only imagine the horrors that reveal themselves to those forced to live there full time. Now, Reflux is said to have a dream one summer night, and that dream led him to make the game Holdfast. While the nature of the dream is quite explicit, I believe I can say that what a man does in his mind is no business of the government or animal protection groups. This dream led little Reflux to create what is known around the world as just another shooting game, where people yell obscene things at one another. But to me, and those like me, it is a place to spread peace and love to those who need it. Now, before I get sidetracked, I should mention the other people at AGS. Second in command is a person named Harpy, who is said to be the severely erratic and unpredictable co-boss, I suppose you could call him. He's the muscle at AGS. and often is the person they turn to when debts are needed to be collected. Harpy was recruited from a local scrap metal yard, where he used to tear bolts out of large pieces of scrap metal with his bare hands. There's also Teed, the new guy. Teed is known for his cheerful nature and his wide smile, which exposes the missing teeth from many a drunken night out fighting in basement boxing rings for spare change. He was recruited by Reflux to handle the player base of AGS, and despite his inability to read or write, has done a great job of clicking randomly on communications and pretending to read complaints, appeals, and other communications from the player base. Now next, there is Sally, the accountant and the office jokester. She is most well known for telling lewd jokes and keeping sexual tension high in the AGS offices. Sally was first recruited by Harpy and Reflux as a cleaner, but the utter filth of the office was too much, so they promoted Sally to the role of accountant, despite her difficulty with doing math. Finally, there's Rudolph, and as of this taping of this episode, I have yet to be able to collect any information about Rudolph, but sources say he performs very secretive roles in the company and may hold more power than even many other of the, owners and co-owners in the offices. Now, AGS has kept their engine running for years now, scraping by, barely meeting the most basic needs for the company to stay afloat. But I believe with our help, they can become something better. They can become a real indie game developer that could win awards like Indie Game of the Year or Steam's Best New Releases. It's never too late to help those in need, and AGS needs players like us to help them more than ever. Message any of the AGS team and tell them that you support them. Send them thanks for their hard work and tell them that Kurosky has their backs. This is Kurosky, signing off. Peace and love.